What's up? What's up? It's October. It's spooky season. My favorite time of the year. It's so scary that we've turned Bryce into a ghost. You can't even see him tonight. What's up, fellas? What's up?
How's it going?
Not too much.
Another day in the life. Another day in the life. I'm feeling really wiped out, and it's only Wednesday. For those of us sad sons of gun that have to still work that 9 to 5, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. And it's only 9 o'clock tonight, so I'm tired. I'm rocking the from the most recent Ape Fest hoodie. Very dope. This is one of my favorite logos that they did. It's also super heavy, so if you need to go to Antarctica, if that's in your future plans, screw the parka. Just wear this hoodie, and you will be good. You'll be good.
Yeah, that design for sure is definitely one of my top picks from the hoodie collection.
Regret not picking it up.
Yeah, I saw it live and I was like, okay, this is just, it was a different vibe, right? Like, I feel like we had seen a lot of the same kind of thing, which is not necessarily bad, but this was new and different. And the back is pretty vibey too. I liked their like psychedelic look that they had going with the yellow shirts as well. And so this kind of fits into that in the black and white vein. So definitely digging it, definitely loving it. There was actually a Bored Ape announcement today. And if you know anything about me, I like have their notifications on, and every time I see one, I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be something great. And then it's like my tweet about wearing a hoodie. And I'm like, son of a bitch, they got me on my own tweet.
I don't know how you still have the retweet notifications on. Like,
man, you know what? I don't want to miss a thing, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing. Dude, I'm just telling you, I just can't. I'm sick, actually. I'm actually sick. So, of course, when that came through, and it was a cool announcement, but it wasn't like, you know, just a banger. Yeah. Will was like, well, there you go. You got your announcement. I was like, thanks, dude. Thanks. That's our one announcement for October. Congratulations. We got it, boys.
Yeah, there's your Q4 update.
Oh, God. We get nothing else for Q4. But in all reality, we are the biggest YUGA, or at least tied for the biggest YUGA maxis. We love Bored Ape. We really do. We love the YUGA ecosystem. We love the founders. And we've been here for a minute, and it's just like there's always so much to talk about. Drama, good things. But at the end of the day, and we were talking about this before it came on, Bryce said it, and he's right. At the end of the day, you realize you want to get back in the YUGA ecosystem. If you make a couple extra, ETH, how can I put that back into the YUGA ecosystem? At the end of the day, I think a lot of people are thinking that. And even if that's buying ApeCoin, if that's buying a Meebit, I know that you bought one of those too, Will, didn't you?
Dude, I've been on a shopping.
Yeah. Why don't you just break the news to the people?
Yeah,
what
I
did
bought
you
an
do,
ape
my guy? Oh my God, another ape.
Hey yo.
It's like I think it's the third ape that I've like clicked the buy button for. So like the first one was like way back, day 2.
Yeah.
Second one was like when they were like 3 ETH, and I was like, I hear everybody's like making money flipping apes, and I hadn't even really thought about it. I was like, I'm flipping everything else, but I'm not flipping the one thing I love the most.
Yeah.
Then I was like, all right, cool. I'll pick one up. Dude, I picked up like ID number 131, flipped it for like an ETH profit, and was like, oh, cool. And then like the next day they just ran out, and I got outpriced real quick. Just
that other deed. Did you look at it? Was it anything good? Did you ever?
Other than it being like uber close to the middle,
you would have sold it for like $1 million, but whatever.
I mean,
no big deal. You only
got a Mega Coda too.
Mega Coda and
Inner Circle. Yeah,
literally everything. You had every resource. Congratulations, bro. Now he's gonna go look. Oh,
I'm gonna look it up now. Right?
Don't look. Never look.
He's looking.
Never look up stuff you sell. Go ahead, Bryce.
I was gonna say, while he's looking, Phil, do you want to introduce our special guest for today?
Yes, let's get into it. This dude has been making moves to uplift, of course, YUGA, but more specifically ApeCoin, and how do we use it? How can we make it grow? How can we make it more useful? And so him and his team had a proposal that went up. I guess it feels like 73 years ago, but I think it was probably like 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember. I've lost track of time. Time does not matter here, but it was approved, which is super exciting, and we are very excited to bring on, without further ado, Mr. Zach. How are you this fine evening, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks all for having me on today. Fired up to be here.
For sure, dude. So I guess first off, why don't we get a little backstory on Zach? So how'd you get into crypto? What brought you to NFTs? What has been the short version of your journey thus far within the NFT space?
Yeah, absolutely. So a shout out is needed here. About 4th of July last year, we all, my college friends and I did a trip to Sayuli to Mexico. And my good friend on Twitter, it would be Mungie, who's now at On Cyber. He's been the first employee there for a little bit over a year now. Was talking about nothing but these monkey JPEGs and JPEGs generally, but he was particularly selling me like, hey man, you've been at DoorDash, you can afford one of these. They come with utility, right? Like get in, right?
Right.
Yeah. Then I checked him out and I'm like, okay, well, what's the utility? And he showed me the bathroom and I was like,
yeah.
Okay, no, like come back to me when I can get on the yacht, right? Like that.
Yeah, the pixels, the placing the pixels didn't do it for you. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
I was gonna say the bathroom sold me. I was like, what is this secret club I can get into? Like literally, like I was reading the website and I was like, secret club. I'm like new here. What is this? I was like, let's check it out.
I love it. I mean, and I think the difference there is like, had you bought your first NFT already? I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Versus I had to get into the whole concept, and he was using the utility concept to get me over the hurdle of like, hey, no, it's it's art, but it's selling for more than art sells, right? Like,
right.
What's the gap here, right? And so fast forward a few months, and we went through a reorg. I had some free time and I read the Ethereum white paper and I was hooked. He's in the background, chirping me to get involved the whole time. But really, to be honest, it was DeFi first, just like getting some money in a wallet just to see how it all worked. And kind of a Austrian economics major in college, like kind of the libertarian philosophy, right? Like disintermediate, decentralize, let folks do the lift here. So DeFi hooked me in and started playing around on crypto Twitter. And it's really crypto Twitter that brought me into NFTs and started, buying around like, maybe September last year, bought my first NFT and I bought my first Bored Ape by mid-October, about a month later. Once I started getting in there, understanding what it was all about, and then following all these people who are either crypto punks or Bored Apes and being like, I want to be part of the club. That's kind of what drew me in. Yeah. And super candidly, didn't feel ready to buy a CryptoPunk yet. Bored Apes were still a bit cheaper, so it's kind of my like first big splurge to jump in 2 feet.
That's amazing. So you basically, we all get like red pilled, right? At that, there's a moment where it just clicks, and then you just feel like you're never sleeping because you want to like learn something more, check out something, read something, listen to a podcast, listen to a space, and there's just like, it's pretty much if you want to consume some sort of information, some of that information is BS, but you can do it 24/7. So I find that interesting that, you dove in to the white paper of Ethereum and that got you super bullish just on the idea of crypto as a use case. Is that what you would say?
Yeah. And I would mention, I bought like a Bitcoin in college. And so I understood Bitcoin. It was this thing that made sense to me. Having a deflationary relatively asset made a lot of sense. But the whole L1s and kind of decentralized applications piece, I just didn't understand it, right? And then I could understand an NFT, but it was actually understanding kind of DeFi and all of those use cases. And then this flywheel of like, hey, the wealth is getting generated in DeFi and L1s, et cetera. And that's where most of the NFT money comes from.
Yeah.
But then there's kind of this flywheel effect. There's some I bought a punk, here's why post that I read that really helped the light bulb go off on that for me, along with kind of financialization of NFTs. And so got me really excited about the future here and this being the big thing that was going to bring on the next 10 million, 100 million users. So excited to be a part of that.
I guess I'll jump in really quick and then Will and Bryce, please feel free to fire a question. It's just something that I was so curious with your history with DoorDash and working, with a really big time company. Do you see, like, obviously we're seeing companies starting to dip their toes in and kind of like mess around with crypto. Do you think that's coming in like mass quantity at some point?
Absolutely. And I'll mention, without getting into exactly what DoorDash is thinking about, that a year ago when I was like, I'm going into Web3, but wasn't quite ready to leave DoorDash yet, the first thing I did is simplify and kind of ping Tony, ping Christopher, our president, and said, hey, I'd like to define a crypto strategy for us here. Yeah. Started to put some thoughts on paper. And of course, that thinking involved NFTs, how we do something with loyalty, with creating a new tier of membership, et cetera. And started to socialize that internally. It was really hard to do, working within a population that is, I don't want to use the term normie, but I'm struggling for a better one, right? And then, at that point in time, and DoorDash is actually an amazing and relatively entrepreneurial culture, but, selling crypto within a large public company, it was challenging, right? And so actually some of the initiatives we took on, and I'm going into a little bit of detail here because I think this is roughly what is happening across corporate America, is that there was some amount of energy at this point in the bull cycle, right? Like running up through Q2 this year. And a lot of companies started plans, whether they're on paper, whether they started to build the app, build the code, build the marketing materials. Everyone started, who's innovative, who's in this category of companies who should be doing something here, started to get the tires rolling, right? And then the bear market came. And so there are, Starbucks is a really interesting example here as well, where, and I'm re-quoting other people. This is not like, I've not dug through their contract, but as I understand it, Polygon is actually paying them millions of dollars a year to launch their program. And so as they're making a corporate decision, and it may not be millions a year, but it's millions during the course of the program for sure. I think it's actually 7 figures. But that makes it really simple, right? Like if the program doesn't work, they still have a revenue stream, right? And there will be, I love the Chipotle like proof of stake launch, right? Like there are going to be brands, and you're going to see more and more of that. But it's really going to be the next bull run, and everyone will have their playbook kind of teed up and be ready to enter opportunistically, if I'm guessing.
So they're all building, right? Like the whole meme thing, but it's all true. Like this is when you like try to build, when you try to put these plans together, because if you wait till the next bull, you're already kind of behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely. Yeah,
for sure.
So let's talk about Snag. How did you decide that was the direction you were going to go? Did it start after like a period of like trading, and then you were like, this is something we need to just do? Or was like, what was the driving factor, and like how did you balance that between a very hectic bull market and then trying to like get Snag to off the ground and to where you want it to be, or
absolutely
working on that path forward?
So I was at DoorDash for long enough that when I had this light bulb moment on, hey, it's crypto for me, it's Web3. I had a track record where I could continue to work, I could continue to add value, and I could do that while spending all my time kind of off on the side doing Web3 things with my friends, right? And so that enabled me to spend most of kind of Q4 last year and Q1 last year degenning, playing with NFTs, hanging out on Twitter, Discord, really understanding the space, listening to a ton of Bankless, other podcasts, reading a ton as well. Really tried to take almost an academic approach early. And then it was actually when I was flipping a second Bored Ape that I sold. I bought at 60. I bought at 50. The floor ran up to 60, and I went to flip. And I looked at, 5% to Bored Ape at the time, 2.5% to OpenSea, tax liability on top of that on the full 10 ETH spread, right? And so I was actually underwater on that transaction. Luckily, Bored Ape kept running up, and I made plenty of money on the transaction in the future. But the takeaway for me is like, hey, this model is broken. That's number one. And then number two, OpenSea isn't actually providing any value here, right? Like I knew I wanted to buy a Bored Ape, and I, click through to OpenSea, and I almost don't feel comfortable searching on OpenSea because of frauds and scams, right? Like they're not sending you volume, you're finding the project. And so, at the time I was actually running, part of our white label business for DoorDash, doing Chipotle.com and Chipotle app delivery, support, online ordering, etc., Panera, Chick-fil-A, etc., helping on kind of digital ordering and fulfillment services. And the not that unique observation is that business model is better for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I really saw that opportunity to build this in Web3. And as soon as I was able to get my co-founder, Jason, who's probably the best engineer I've ever worked with, to agree to do this with me, that was, to me, all it really took. And then from there, we chatted with a few of our early customers, Em and Maddie at Crypto Chicks, and then Crypto Poppy at Pirates of the Metaverse. And this was a little bit before there's a few competitors today. There really wasn't anyone doing this yet. And they both said, like, yes, this is great. Let's do it. Right. And so then we went and started to build.
That's super exciting and genius. And everything you said about OpenSea is so unbelievably true. But yet they have the majority of that market share because that's just what everybody like knows, right? It's just like it's been the norm for so long. And there's been Looks Rare that came along and XYZ, and there's like a couple, options, but they still have their own, takeaway. And so I love the fact, and we'll dive in more after we play this game here in a second about what you guys are specifically doing with the Ape coin, because it's definitely it's an exciting time, I would say, and definitely needed and welcome for the whole YUGA ecosystem. So super exciting. Did you have anything else with that, Will? Otherwise, you want to jump into this game?
No, yeah, we can break and jump into the game, and we can go back to the marketplace after.
Dope. Let me pull it up real quick. And then again, Zach is so prepared for this game. We told him he was going to be on the spot.
To just be ready.
It's really tough. There's some that you're going to have to really think.
Well, yeah, a lot of.
It reminds me of another game I know.
So it is. I can 1,000%. I think you get the drift. So let's go ahead and play this little intro, and we'll get going. All right, so a little intro with Zach's beautiful Bored Ape. Obviously, we had to shoot him down the little chute there, but at the end, he got the last laugh as I wiped out both Bryce and Will. So you definitely understand this game. You may have played it one time in your life, or at least know of it. And so this is a fun game that we like to play. Mint, Marry, Burn. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me share this. There we go. So again, it's pretty easy, Zach. It's very straightforward. You're going to pick one to mint. That means you could obviously flip it. One to marry. It can never leave your side. And one to, well, burn. You never to be seen again. So we're going to go through a couple different projects, obviously very YUGA focused, and you'll see some familiar items potentially as well. Here we go. We got some high quality mutants. This is always a tough one, as I want to say Bryce might have found these in their fire.
Indeed, yeah, I was just searching through some M2s, found some grails, or what I thought.
I was going to ask if they're all M2s. I should be able to tell.
Actually, the gold on the right is an M1, but
the hat is the giveaway for me there.
I couldn't put an M2 gold. I mean, that would.
Yeah, no, that'd make it too easy.
Like, here we go. This is somewhat challenging.
Okay. So I love the M2 cowboy hat, and I love the cowboy hat trait generally. So not net, I mean, I can't sell it anyway, so it's not value driven. So I'm going to marry that one.
All right.
And then I've always wanted both a gold and a trippy ape. Never touched either, so this is really hard. But I'm going to burn the M1 because I can't bring myself to burn an M2. So I'm the trippy.
Interesting.
All right.
Here we go.
Wait, hold on. So before we switch, though, this M2 trippy, if I remember correctly, this is the one that has the Bored Ape that just sold for like 777 ETH.
Is it that one?
It is.
Yeah, I think Tropo owns that M2 mutant, and he was like commenting underneath, and he's like, "You can come buy the M2 mutant of it at any point."
yeah, near that price would be great. So definitely, we wanted to start off with a banger, with some very dope mutant apes. Let's go ahead and throw it over here. Got a couple different things. Obviously, Trippy's making some serious noise with that massive sale. But what do you got here?
I hate to kind of like repeat the same trend, but I'm drawn to Trippy and less to the other two here. So I'm now going to marry that one. I'm upgrading it because there's no great cowboy hat here for me. And then I'm less into the Trippy hat actually. So I'll burn that one and marry the whatever we're calling that pimp jacket or
the pimp coat. Love to see it. Here we go. We got to spice things up, make it real interesting. 3 gold versions. You can only keep one though.
Okay, keeping the right flip brim. It's not crying. That's obvious.
You're not Justin Bieber. All right, we got
it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't like the crying thing. I feel like the eyes to me is like the most important thing overall. So I'm gonna go mint the middle. I wish I could mint any of these.
Right, no kidding.
Burn that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna like ours when you throw ours up.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
God.
Yeah, I know. Here's 3 founders apes. We obviously kept it at 3, so we didn't put all 4, but here we go. The real spice.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really trying to choose the ape, not the people associated here.
Okay.
But we'll go in order. You know, marrying Gordon here. That's weird. Minting Garga, and sorry, we got to burn our boy here.
Yep, that's kind of been, I feel like, the trend, not surprisingly. But now the real spice. If you might not know this, but these are our 3 apes. No pressure, but there's only.
Well, I know yours, Phil, but I guess I don't know the other 2.
Wonder if you can tell which one's mine.
I wonder.
I think I know how this is gonna go though, because he already said I think he loves the cowboy hat. So
but I actually really vibe with this dude in the middle, and I already have the cowboy hat, Abe, so I'm actually gonna marry you, Bryce. So weird. And then I'm gonna mint the cowboy hat.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Phil.
All right, all right.
I definitely thought with the coin eyes, I was a goner.
You know, I just like that one worked for me. It's a combination of traits. It's like the eyes work with the shirt type deal.
That's why we picked it out.
Hell yeah.
Were you setting him up to like pamp you? Is that
I was, yeah.
Oh, man, you did it.
Hey, I mean, the eyes, coins, ape coin. I mean, it's all tied in. I see where it's going.
I'm gonna get like 4 times the staking reward, so y'all just wait.
Oh, okay. Here's 3 semi-famous for their Twitter presence mutants. So what do we got here?
Still, it's just a trend here, but yeah, that's Trippy on the right. I'm taking him, marrying him, and then I guess we will mint. I think that's Thread on the left, and I probably should know who's the middle. I'm burning them.
Isn't that Menace?
Yeah, I think it's Menace.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
All right, we know you have a CryptoPunk, so now which one trips your trigger?
We're obviously marrying the hood here.
Yeah.
Has anyone not said that? Right?
I think this might be our first time flashing punks.
Actually, no. Okay. One time somebody said they'd burn all 3 because they hate punks.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
a hot take.
I don't like that. But, and then we'll go mint the middle, the glasses. Yeah. I don't like anything that's smoking generally.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's good. Let's go ahead and we go forward on a couple pieces here. Here we go. We got Cool Cats, the hot flavor right now, Ranga, and a little Me Bits run here recently. These are all very similar in price, and these are just the floor.
I'm undereducated on Ranga, so I'm sure I'm making the wrong decision here just due to lack of knowledge, but I'll burn that.
Yes, sir. No, I'm just kidding. going.
I mean, hey, like, they need to sustain, or I need to know what they're doing. That's different, one or the other. Before I'm gonna take over one of these other two, both of which I'd love to get into. But I'll go me bits because of the lore, the provenance, and then Cool Cats, and both great options.
And Cool Cats with that announcement today as well.
Was that today?
I think that was
with the Animoca.
Which is, I mean, hats off to them. I think that's great for them. Having went to their, I don't know if you went to their NFT experience, Zach, at all at NFT NYC, if you were there, but it was super. Like, I'm not even a holder, and I thought it was one of the coolest experiences. So I hope they make a comeback. I think they will.
Definitely showed how much they can reach kids.
Zach, this is where we turn up the spice a little bit. These are Zach's items that it's literally in a folder titled "Will Not Sell Ever," I think is what it was called. So here we go. What do you got?
It's almost never selling, so I did give myself wiggle room.
That's true. You did say that.
And I'm burning, I guess, my Clonex. That was actually relatively easy. The next decision is much harder. But because I don't have to burn it, I'll mint and sell the punk because I'm actually connected to the identity component of the ape at this point. So
that's a perfect answer.
There you go.
So hold on before we move on.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the apes and the punks real quick. So if I remember correctly, you were saying, like punks were a good deal ahead of apes at the time when you bought your ape.
Yes.
So, I mean, I kind of had that similar feeling of like punks just always somewhat being out of reach, kind of unattainable. Did you jump at buying a punk like the second you were able to, or like how did you get around to finally like securing your punk?
Yeah, I hate to tell this story, but like it's all on chain. No one's dug it up yet. But I actually did sell a chunk of my ape coin at the top. It was a great trade. I just hate to sell anything out of the Bored Ape ecosystem. Ecosystem. Guess it's still within if I'm using it to buy a punk, but I probably subsidized like 2/3 of the total cost by selling not quite half, but nearly half of my ape coin. And the fact that I was able to do that, plus take some, I had sold and flipped that second ape I talked about earlier. So I kind of like cashed in some to like move over to the punk. And it was being able to do that without feeling like I was I had already bought 2 apes, so I put plenty in here, but like, without feeling like I was putting more in, I was kind of like recycling and like getting into something that I had always wanted to be in. It made it a really easy call for me.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was NFT Statistics who kept putting those charts out talking about full set data. And it was like, there was that one point where the Bored Ape airdrop was enough to by itself to buy a punk. And that blows my mind that token drop was able to literally obtain something that was once so far out of reach for like all the apes at one point when we were all just sitting there in the clubhouse, just like, wow, look at Punk's nuts. Run after Visa bought one and whatever. Like, yeah. So, I mean, anyways, super cool.
I just want to add one small detail from my experience. Like CryptoPunks always seemed like I would never get one, but honestly, like at the time I didn't want one. It was like out of spite because they kind of looked down on apes, to be honest with you. Like at the beginning, like it was never like we were the wannabes, we were the lucky crew, etc. When when it was like under an ETH or something. And so like because of that at the time, it soured me on punks as a whole. Now, as I sit here today, and I understand the historical, all of that I understand it completely. I've come around to, at some point, wanting to have a CryptoPunk. I just need to find the right one.
Love that.
All right, last one. You already saw a little preview. Here we go. The little extra spice, of course, your beauty in the middle, and then we had to put just 2 absolute bangers on the outside.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about. I'm trying, like, there's more of a strategy piece on this because I'm not going to burn mine, right? Like that's out day one, and so then I need to marry mine because I can't burn it, and it's not worth as much as these other 2, and that lets me mint the thing that would make me never work again. And we'll burn the trippy here.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think
what did Sandbox end up buying that gold ape for? It was a pretty big sale at the time.
I don't remember. I'd have to go dig on that one. I do not remember. So again, thanks for playing our little fun, silly game. We like to make it a little spicy, add in some personal touch, but
I know the last couple.
yeah, we have to do that. So we wanted to dive into the marketplace, your proposal that was massively approved. Obviously, I maybe not obvious. I had listened to you on a space. I think it was when you had your anniversary or something, and I had reached out to you and said, congrats. And hats off to you for being there and taking feedback and just being present. And I think at the end of the day, and at least in my opinion, I feel like yours was the best. From if we're just picking one, and that doesn't mean we had to pick one, but I always thought yours was the best. So can you tell us, obviously we have a little bit of your backstory on wanting to get rid of some of the market fee to OpenSea, but what's driving this? What is your vision with this? Where is you and your team taking it?
Yeah, absolutely. And just a half step back before I reapproach the ApeCoin piece. We were already building this technology, right? We actually had it live. We were ready to launch our first couple partners, and it was always part of our plan to see how we could deploy the tech to work well for the YUGA ecosystem. And then transparently, it was always a moonshot too, right? Like the plan was never like build this, go get YUGA. The plan was build this and work with whatever creators were interested in owning the customer experience and reducing fees for their collection. And so just to kind of contextualize that this is our core business model. And while we're going to do a lot of custom stuff for the ApeCoin marketplace in the future, the product we'll launch with day one is really pretty much our bread and butter. And so with that in mind, just kind of talking a little bit about the proposal, at a high level, what we're going to do is host all of the core YUGA collections to start. And that means not Punks or Meebits, at least on day one, since they already have their own marketplaces, as part of kind of the apecoin.com ecosystem. And so it'll be a marketplace tab within that apecoin.com domain. It'll point out to this new marketplace experience. And the core experience day one is it's going to be these collections, Mutants, Bored Apes, Kennel Club, Other Side, Chemistry Club, with aggregated selection, just like Gem and Genie already provide today, so that we can serve all of the listings as part of this experience. And then the core differentiation day one is that we will have a 0.5% fees on Ethereum transactions. 0.25% of that 0.5%, so half of it, funds the ApeCoin DAO and future activities and operations. And then there will be only 0.25% fee on ApeCoin transactions in order to incentivize use of ApeCoin as an actual currency. And then all of that will go to fund ApeCoin DAO operations. So we're making our 0.25% only on those Ethereum transactions. And that's the lowest we will go with any partner, but ApeCoin was definitely the one we were willing to put that out there for. And then over time, and you can read more about this, it's kind of easier when I share pictures on designs, but we want to really make this the best buying experience, community experience for the YUGA ecosystem. And that'll be stuff like bringing metadata into the buying experience early. So showing, which mutants are connected to this Bored Ape, or showing that there's unused serums that could be used in the future, right? Like if there was another ApeCoin drop, we would want to pull that like claimed, unclaimed data into the experience, right? So that's one thing we want to do. Beyond that, we see a ton of opportunity in social. So how do we help holders, connect when there's a listing, but also connect when I'm trying to put out the message on this proposal and looking to go to shows like this, right? Making it easier to kind of navigate, communicate with more permanence than is available with Discord and Twitter, which are awesome. But if I post something in the Bored Ape Discord, it is gone, right? Like the next minute. So,
Will, you got a thinking face on. Go for it.
Yeah. No. I was saying I was thinking that I was listening to the spaces that y'all had earlier. I think it was today. I was listening to the re-recording of it. But so some of the things that, one of the questions that was brought up was security. And it was like, you know, we have this serious issue where apes get stolen all the time. And then, you know, that brings in a whole mess of chaos when, you know, you're like, wait, did I just buy a stolen asset or not, or whatever? And so have you all thought about like different ways to combat those kind of, you know, thefts from happening and then instantly having those assets dumped to like an offer?
Great question. And the way you asked that, there's a lot that we have thought of here. And then there's something that just occurred to me that I will now take down and we'll try to solve for a little bit, which is the offer dumping component. We have not thought about that. So there's a policy piece and a product piece first, right? One, we need to have the best possible, and there's all of the options are kind of bad here when it comes to stolen items, right? But we need the best policy that we can craft, and we need to be able to enforce it. I actually think OpenSea's most recent policy was pretty good, and ours will not be all that different. And for those who aren't aware, you now need a police report to file something as stolen on OpenSea. Our policy will be pretty much that, with a little bit more stringency around us kind of checking back in. We'll need to define the right timelines here, whether it's a month or 3 months, et cetera, to figure out, you know, did the police report go through? Was this actually, you know, verified as stolen versus not, right? And our bias in crafting that policy is that the person who buys the NFT and then the flag comes on, or the person who has the NFT and the flag shouldn't go on and then the flag still goes on anyways, that's the person who right now, for better or worse, suffers most in this scenario. And so we're actually, you know, we're biasing towards protecting them until someone shows us like, yes, this was stolen from me. And then we need to adhere to the law and flag that and stop that from transacting. So that's the policy piece. Product, we are going to both show the flag, the OpenSea flag. We're kind of referencing that on our listings. And so at least this is for the ApeCoin marketplace in particular, by the way. All of these things are variable. So if you are a partner launching your own marketplace, you get to make most of these decisions yourself. Anything other than like, we will not let you transact stolen NFTs or we'll go to jail. So that's the only thing we draw the line on.
Just a small thing, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, so show the flag. And then when we get the police report, we can still show that listing and let you transact it, you know, kind of in a Gem Genie style way via LooksRare or one of these decentralized folks who can't go to jail. But we can't let that through our own smart contracting at that point in time. So we block that within our system. And then really good point on kind of the dumping mechanism there. I will need to think about that. If you have any thoughts or solutions, we'd love to hear them.
I was thinking of a few. There's one that I've been cooking on for a while, and I feel like anytime when I go to trade, I'm like looking at something that's like lower than floor, and I'm like, okay, this looks a little suspicious. Like it's a recent listing. You go back in the transaction history, and it's like this just transferred wallets, you know, from the original owner to a scam, like to the thief's wallet, and then they dump it. So I don't know how realistic it is, but it almost seems like there needs to be some kind of cooldown timer that like says like, hey, if this asset transacted like from an address, it can't immediately be turned around and accept a WETH offer. I don't know like how complex that would be to implement, but it seems like if you put like a hold where it's like, hey, you can't just switch to a new wallet and then dump it, like maybe something like that. And then I don't know. We've never had anything like a two-factor authentication or any kind of like PIN, other than, you know, you're signing with your wallet. But it almost seems like there needs to be like another layer of like action done
before you transfer something in general.
Before you sell, like if you're gonna accept an offer.
And I would push. Oh, go for it.
No, I was going to say, because you could also just then list up the NFT for 10 ETH, right? And I think who wouldn't go buy a Bored Ape for 10 ETH right away? So there would almost have to be like some sort of, you can't dump it below the floor or like list below the floor within a certain time period after buying.
Yeah. So the thing I'd push on a little bit is blocking the transaction fully, right? Like the marketplaces are just the front end to the blockchain. And if someone has already stolen the asset, there's really nothing we can do here.
Yeah.
Right. Like all we can do is one at a time block transaction, and it's whack-a-mole, and there's always going to be another marketplace and another way to transact. And so what I really like from what you just shared, and would probably be pretty easy to implement, I actually just like put it down in my calendar while we were talking here, is flagging that again, right? Like that data is all on chain, and the simplest thing we can do is in a very clear way display that information to the user, right? Like based on XYZ, this is likely just been stolen.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's my early thinking there, but can definitely spend some more time with that.
You think it's also maybe like, this might be too simplified, but like educating buyers as well, or having kind of like you're saying here, where you're marking this is maybe stolen, like having some sort of like little tutorial or video that says, I don't know, like this is maybe, I'm getting into the weeds here, but some sort of educational material that's linked directly, like a little video, 2-minute video, 3-minute video to say, these are signs of potential stolen asset. And like having that available doesn't mean anyone's going to watch it. As we all know,
we want to do that. So again, the slight difference in our model, we are serving the creator.
Yeah.
And ultimately, whatever these partners, these founders of these projects are asking for is what we're going to prioritize.
Of course. Yeah.
And they are asking for exactly what you just described, right? It's actually something, right? Like we're a 2-ish person team today, so it's hard for me to squirrel away the time to create those resources at high quality. But definitely something we want to get to sooner rather than later.
That's super exciting. Definitely exciting. Obviously, congrats again on the marketplace. And so I guess my next question would be, what's the time horizon for the Ape marketplace being live for people to be able to transact on that?
Yeah, early November, current target. We'll be able to lock down an exact date in the next few weeks as we get through the audit process. But targeting sometime in the kind of November 5th through 15th range.
So we'll have at least one other announcement from YUGA this quarter as this will go live. That's a joke from earlier. I'm hoping we have more than that, but that's super exciting. And I feel like for anyone that hadn't been paying attention to, what you guys have cooking, that feels very fast and fair as well. And even if it's, mid-November, end of November, that's still ready to roll and push out really fast, that turnaround. So again, congrats. And I'm looking forward to everything you guys have going.
Appreciate it, man.
And anything else that you're kind of bullish on in the NFT space as a whole? I know you're probably unbelievably busy with all of this work that we've now, asked you a million questions about, but what other things, keep you here? What other things made you want to do this full time, Web3 as a whole? And, even outside of what you're doing here with the marketplaces, what else are you looking forward to?
Yeah. So, again, kind of back to like my entry to Web3 story, couldn't be more bullish on the change that can be created with this technology long term.
Right.
And in the next 5 years, I'm thrilled to help onboard people to Web3 and get DAOs, decentralized governance, working in a way that actually can change the world, because we are not there yet.
No,
probably won't be there for 5-10 years at least. Right.
Agreed.
And so that's why I'm really working on the app layer today. But where I get really excited is, decentralize of social networks like Facebook in the not too distant future, where, and there's tons of great entrepreneurs working on that problem already with credible solutions. But if we can start to do stuff like that, if we can start to replace, $1 trillion market cap business and run it better and treat users better, then the sky's the limit, right? Like our U.S. economy, I'm hearing some American dialects on the call today. It's pretty screwed up, and I really hope and want to help build towards a set of technology that can enable citizens to vote instead of elected democracy. It's all way out there when I start to talk about stuff like that, but that's what gets me excited today, and starting to see some of the use cases for NFTs, things like tokenization of loyalty, ticketing, GameFi, right? Like those are the things that we as Snag want to go build against in the next 3 to 5 years, so that we can help brands who want to come build this future have the technology and infrastructure to do it.
Super exciting. Cool. Everything you say is true. The economy and the government as a whole is so backwards. And I think, at least it's got to happen. I'm so bullish on crypto. I'm so bullish on Web3 because when people start to realize what it can do for all peoples, that's when that clicks, whenever that happens, when there's that big light bulb moment or many light bulb moments, that's when I think you'll see such widespread adoption, because it just makes too much sense. It makes way too much sense when you just boil it down, where you're in control of more of your information, your money, all of those things, which should be the case, right? We shouldn't have Big Brother watching every little thing and holding everything we do. So that's a whole nother freaking conversation, though.
For real.
So we just want to say thanks, Zach, for coming through. We definitely appreciate it. I know when I reached out to you, and I figured and knew you were busy. And so to take a little bit of time and let us get to know you, play a little game, and talk a bit about your marketplace was enlightening. And I can't wait to stay connected here as you continue to build out great things in the space.
Thanks so much. And super appreciate you all having me on. I love, reaching the community. And this is one directional, this TV show right now, but my DMs are open. I will not buy your NFT. I will not sell you my NFT, but I will listen to your feedback on our marketplace. I will chat with you if you're interested in launching a marketplace. So please reach out. I love to engage and see how we can build for you all.
We love that, Zach. So we'll try to get some cuts sent your way so you can throw it all over the internet with all the alpha you drop to us and just the good vibes. And again, always good to meet a fellow ape. And so have a great evening and a great rest of the week. And we'll talk to you soon.
Great to meet you all. Chat soon.
Me too.
Super knowledgeable, so positive. We love to meet those types of people, and not surprising either, right? It's like you hear these people talk, you see what they're doing and what they're building. And then when you meet them, I'd be more surprised if they sucked, right?
Yeah,
they definitely didn't suck.
It feels so awkward though. I just waved to my screen, and so I was like, awkward.
Yeah, Bryce's ape does not wave. Unfortunately, he does not have that filter rolling at least tonight. So, what do we want to talk about here as we wrap up the show? I know that there was, again, we joked about it, but the Bored Ape actual announcement.
I'm just glad to know they're alive.
Yes.
Just glad to know they still have access to the Twitter page. Well, you see the retweets.
So I see the retweets every day, bro.
Bill knows they have access. But
what were our thoughts on the little 7-person council that will be kind of overseeing community, etc.? I'm curious to see what they actually are doing, or like what they will be doing. Any thoughts off the top? Just from the 10 hours it's been out.
I had no idea they were even putting together a council. So cool to see that
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, right. But cool to see that they've hand selected some members that, I definitely recognize all these names up there. There was only one that I wasn't following or connected with. So got that sorted today. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what they bring forward and how they interface with the community going forward in a different, potentially different way than what they've already been doing. So,
Bryce, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty indifferent on it all. Kind of like what you said, Phil, until they kind of show us what they're doing. But overall, I'm sure it'll be net positive for our ecosystem. So I think it's probably a good thing.
If the focus is on like this council helping spotlight and lift up specific community members doing dope things, kind of like what they did at the very beginning of the yacht club, where like Jenkins Valet, that's how they got started, was with their, what was it, a freaking grant or whatever they called it. If it's something like that, I think it's awesome and bullish, because I don't think that's something that like the YUGA core team would ever have time now to do. So if these people are in charge of kind of like keeping the temperature of the community, but also helping lift up if there's a project, a protocol, a marketplace, whatever, a space, holding spaces, something like that, then I think it's dope. And that's my guess, at least. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off.
Well, so can't speak tonight, apparently. An interesting thing on the blog post they put on YUGA.com was they're also going to be expanding this kind of concept and then having a similar thing for CryptoPunks, Meebits, and other sites. So,
yep.
I volunteer.
Volunteer as tribute. It'd be cool to be in those conversations, I guess, right? Like, again, like you said, I knew all of the members. I've had some really good conversations with a handful of them as well, that are on this original council. Like I've known Josh for a long time. Josh Ung. I remember DMing him like within the first week or two, having him on a show. I've talked to him a million times. Laura, I've talked to on the phone, for goodness sake. Like I've had conversations with these people. And so to see them be chosen is great. And so I'm just curious to see where that goes. Next question for y'all. I got a couple fire off, and then you guys can have any last thoughts on, YUGA, NFTs as a whole. My next question is, and I'm going to keep asking this until it happens. Do we think that the other side next trip is before or after staking, which happens on Halloween?
I mean, it's definitely after.
All right. Sure. Like way after December, or you think November?
I would say late November or early December.
Fair. Bryce, same thing.
It could be.
Yeah, I would say so too. I feel like that's also half the reason why the community council was just kind of dropped on us now, because it's like, all right, here's a little bit of filler in the meantime, and we're gonna go MIA again.
I don't know if I like that or agree with that take. I see what you're saying.
Just because you want announcements,
like I'm
mean they're ready.
All I'm gonna say is I'm really hoping that's not their thinking, because if it is, then I've now instantly turned bearish on YUGA. If they're thinking, let's just throw this little random announcement out to keep the wolves back, like that would be really poor play of their social media.
I don't know. I think they're gonna let staking play out first a little bit. I think I mean there's a lot that could unfold coming up with staking. Could be a whole lot of moving.
A Bored Ape was purchased today.
I mean, I didn't pump my bags, but no, but I'm serious. I think it'll be interesting. People will either want to stake or they won't want to stake. But at the end of the day, those ape coins are going somewhere, and they're going to end up in someone's wallet. So there was a couple of threads I was digging through that were kind of interesting, talking about how, if there's too much, if there's too many like shorts on ApeCoin and like you have like high APY staking, then like there's some like math that just doesn't add up. And then the people that are trying to short ApeCoin end up having to pay a crap load to try and short it. Anyways, it was just kind of like this in-depth analysis of like, it could potentially be bullish for the coin, bullish for obviously the Bored Apes and the Mutant Apes and the dogs.
Yeah, to stake them, of course, right?
Yeah, for staking and just in general. I think when you start having people attach ApeCoin to their assets, and then that is literally the safe deposit box key that you have to have in order to unlock those tokens again, to get them back out. It's like, well, you don't mess around with that and throw it on a marketplace for sale, right? Like you're gonna, I don't know. And I maybe we should have brought this up to Zach, but if they don't have anything in place, there needs to be some kind of warning that pops up and says, hey, you still have your ApeCoin attached to your ape and you're still staking. Are you really sure that you want to list it? Because if that's not accounted for, I feel like we're going to see some people get potentially burned there.
I also feel like too, well, I guess that would be back on the buyer, but somebody could, I guess, technically stake one ApeCoin and then list it up and it looks like it's being staked, right? So people would rush to buy it, get their ApeCoins, but it's one.
I mean, I feel like you'd be able to track that.
I was going to say, but the buyer hopefully would be smart enough to look at wallets.
You would hope, but
you would hoping
for people to be smart in the world.
Yeah, so maybe a quantity tracker there too, Zach, if you listen.
Just pulling out all sorts of requests.
Just all the requests are happening now. Any other projects that you guys are bullish on or looking at here over the last week or two, or looking ahead to?
No, I'm looking forward to ape staking.
Yeah.
Yes, we know Mr. 2 Bored Apes now.
That's all I got on my mind.
No, that's fair. Like, honestly, I've been saying this for a minute. That's literally where I've been for the last, I don't even know. I think I've turned into an actual Bored Ape. So, it is what it is. I'm not necessarily interested on chasing anything. Shout out to those people making money. I'm a fucking idiot, and I'm not taking the time to do that. I like to be poor, apparently, and just have YUGA assets. But nonetheless, that's all I'm interested in. I guess that's why the retweeting a million times a day, which is cool. I love when people, I mean, I've done it. I've been retweeted by Bored Ape. It is a cool feeling. But when that's what I get every day for like ever, and all I care about is Bored Ape, it's kind of like tilting. I just like, Dude, can we just get the other side next trip? Can we just tickle my fancy at some point?
I think you need. I mean, I appreciate that you are ultra Yuga Maxi.
Truly,
but there's some things to check out.
Nothing interests me though, if I'm being completely honest with you.
But
because at the end of the day,
let's unpack that for a second. Why does nothing else interest you?
I'm gonna end up saying something that'll be like a clip that somebody sends.
I'm not trying to set you up here.
To be honest, as a competitor, I only want the best. If you're not first, you're last, and so for me, it's all Yuga all the time.
Ricky,
right? But
I don't have that. And the second thing is, I simply, like, quite frankly, I don't have the time. And unfortunately, actually, to be like active as some people can be.
But if you stop reading all the retweets from Bored Ape Yacht Club for a minute,
I can
give you at least 15 minutes extra each day.
I can then
go ahead and discover some other things, dude. I'm telling you, I've gone through some of these.
What project has been like really dope?
I mean, it's more
besides
of like
your fucking potatoes, bro.
Okay, I do really like that project.
Yes,
though.
We know.
I'm not. No, I mean, so a lot of it too for me is like going back and like thinking about like, okay, what things happened during the bull market that I did not give any sort of attention to, and one of those was Wolf Game. I'm gonna go spend some time over the next few days and kind of figure out what the hell's going on there, because clearly they're still here and they're still doing something. And so if they're doing something dope, I want to find out about it while we're in a bear market instead of finding out about it when they freaking pop off into oblivion. And you're like, whoa, what the hell? That was like sitting right under our nose this entire time. And it was like, we were right there. Like, you know, we just didn't. That's my biggest pet peeve, or like my biggest, like, not pet peeve, like something that I just don't want to ever happen is to like be so close to something and then just be like, just to completely miss it because you didn't take the time to go look at it, right? Like for me early on, that was Art Blocks. It was literally the top opens, like, you know, in the top 3 before apes were even a thing.
Here we go.
No. So, but I'm serious though. So like, obviously there's something going on there. And I didn't even go look at Art Blocks until like the very last day when they stopped doing the 0.1 mints, the 0.1 ETH mints. So it was like, to me, that like aspect, I'm like, damn, I clearly missed something. And it's just because I didn't go like have a little bit of curiosity to what the hell Art Blocks is at the top of OpenSea's activity. You know, I'd seen it a number of times. And then it wasn't until someone said, hey, I'm making good money over here flipping these each week. Why the hell aren't you guys joining me on this? And we're like, thanks for the invite. I don't know. So those are the kind of things that I try to like, that I'm trying to avoid.
I'm interested in like specific artists, but I'm just having a hard time with most new NFTs or even ones that have been around a while on their like long-term success and outlook.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new that I'm just like, oh, this is it. Like, I played Ranga for the flip. I sold too soon, but like, I don't know. It was a fun little flip. I like the art. It's nice, but it wasn't anything until they like proved themselves of having, you know, something coming down the pipe that's like, yo, this is actually, we're about to have like some serious creation go on here and stuff like that. You know, like to me, like Azuki's is one of those things. A lot of people want to go back and they want to be like, oh, Zagabond, whatever. And I'm like,
I mean, he does suck a massive D.
But personally, that like, because he came out and put that article, it really doesn't
because he
me.
had to.
Well, no,
that's like being like, oh my god, you caught me. Now let me just put out this bullshit ass article. Like, I don't know. Like the article to me did nothing.
But at the end of the day, Azuki's not going anywhere. They're gonna keep putting out dope stuff.
No, I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm not interested in supporting that.
Well, I mean, then you can vote with your ETH bag, right? I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know. That's where it's just like the things with like looking into squiggles, looking into whatever, looking into some of the history of different art blocks pieces and whatnot. Some of that's been kind of fascinating to me during this bear market and the more quiet time, because it's like, hey, I can actually take some time and go digging and figure out what the heck's going on.
Learning.
Trying to learn. I need a clone, and I'm not talking artifact. I'm talking an actual.
I was gonna say, bro.
I'm talking an actual human clone that can do other things for me.
Dude, what the heck? Well, back to the other clone. What the heck do they got going on right now? Clones over or whatever, and they're like storytelling NFTs, and I'm like,
hold on to your hats, clones, we're coming. It's like,
Story
okay.
mode.
I don't know.
We're about to blast off. I don't know, dude. Where are our freaking ape shoes? That's all I gotta say. Where are our freaking Bored Ape shoes? They're never coming.
My conspiracy.
They're never gonna
get right. Conspiracy.
Yes, I've heard your conspiracy,
dude. I swear, it's because they couldn't give us vials, so they delayed our drop. I'm almost certain.
I think that shit is over, buried, and done with.
You should sue them, Will.
Yeah, Will.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah,
I should have had those shoes.
Did your own thing, and I didn't like it. Didn't benefit me.
That's what some of these people do. That's like suing McDonald's when you burn your hand on hot coffee. But with that, any last thoughts before we go into oblivion? I think we're all kind of on that. I don't know if Will's drinking coffee.
Water.
Okay.
My man.
Water. Stay hydrated. Stay thirsty for water, my friends. If any water companies want to sponsor Bored TV, hit us up.
Liquid Death, where you at?
Yeah, Liquid Death, where you at? How about Ape Water? Where you at? Come on now. Send us a case of Ape Water and we will drink that shit on stream as we do another Death Nut Challenge. Okay, maybe we won't do that.
No.
Okay, that almost signed us up for that.
That actually almost killed me.
I died.
Dude, I remember looking back on those clips, like freaking just.
Oh my gosh.
Like freaking just down in some ice cream.
And I was just like, I gotta go.
Like in the middle of me talking, we didn't even hear you until we watched it back. I gotta go. You just turn off your camera and leave.
I'm not gonna make it.
Well,
rough.
With that, it's been another amazing Bored TV. Thanks to Zach for coming and talking, giving us a bunch of information and alpha and getting to know a little bit more about him. If you're interested in coming on Bored TV, hit us up. Hit us. It goes down in the DM. It go down. For real. So hit us in the DMs. We'd love to talk to you. When the other side trip, the next one is planned, we will go live. We will broadcast that here on Bored TV. We did the first one. I was at a freaking arboretum or some shit, and these dudes they locked it down. But we will do it again. It will be fun, and we cannot wait to go to the other side. Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Oh, I was just gonna say that
you're like this.
That Josh Bobrowski guy just put a thread out dissecting the 7-person council.
And with that, we're out. Have a good night and have a great week. Later.
Good night.